Hello, and welcome back to Abiding in the Secret Place, or Learning to Abide in the Secret Place. I'm Dr. Natalie Lenore Blackman, and my goal is to walk us all into finding how to survive, live, abide, grow in the secret place in the midst of everything going on outside of the secret place. So it's not an easy place to get to, and I have no script for this. I have no outline, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And it goes back to time. I want to finish a little bit more on time, because time is extremely important to the Father. Not Chronos time, okay? Kairos time. His time. His timetable. And it's outside of our timetable. Just like his calendar is outside the Gregorian calendar. So there's some things that we have to learn about our Creator if we want to learn how to abide in the secret place that he has created. And there is absolutely no way around this, except for getting to know the Father, your Father, my Father, and the one who created us. But I wanted to, before we get into a little bit more of that and understanding him as the Creator, I want to talk more on time. And it ties back into the fact that I said, I don't have an outline. I don't have anything planned. I don't even have any words on a page. So when I was out west and I was really wanting to be a part-time farmer when I wasn't a veterinarian. And I've always loved working with the soil. It brings me such joy. It's very grounding. And I think, too, it just reminds me of God and his creations and how magnificent he is. And it also reminds me of the importance of seed time and harvest. Like, it is just, we were created to put seeds into the soil. And we were never created to stop doing that. I mean, God created Adam and Eve and put them in the garden, right? And so the goal has always been for us to stay connected to a garden or the ground or the soil, so that it's rooted in who we are, and that we can translate that, or some may say generalize that protocol. My seed, time, and harvest. Oh, it goes into everything I do, right? Everything is seed, time, and harvest. No. We've become a people that have forgotten about seed, time, and harvest. And so I want to talk a little bit more about the time, because when I was learning to farm, the scientist that I am, and the holistic nut that I've always been, I wanted the most perfect soil. So, which is nothing wrong with this, but I worked on my soil all the time. And then I learned about planting your seeds according to the moon, and according to, the certain alignment of the solar atmosphere. And so there were all these facets of planting your seeds. And it was very overwhelming to me. Like, oh my gosh, I can't just put some seeds in the dirt. I need to make sure that my soil is perfect, so that when I put them in the dirt, they will grow and produce the best harvest. But oh my gosh, I can't just put them in when I want to put them in. There's all these other modalities on learning when to put your seeds in. And I'm a studier, and so I would have like 7 books out and studying all of these things on when to put my seeds in the ground. And guess what? I would miss it. I missed my window. I missed my timing window. It's like every time. And so I would have friends that they didn't care if they planted in sand. They didn't care if it was a full moon or a crescent moon, or they didn't give a thought to it. They knew that this was the time when you would, sow tomatoes. This was the time when you would sow lettuce. This was the time when you would sow carrots. And so they would just put their seeds in the ground and they would get a harvest. And finally, I had several friends tell me, you're going to have to let go of that. That's a form of is perfection. And it can be very damaging in a lot of areas of life, and it can be a good thing, right? But it also can be it can create analysis paralysis. So you get so overwhelmed into doing something so right that you miss the timing window. And that was a very big wake-up call to me. It was like, whoa, I've been so focused on making sure this factor was right, and this factor was right, and this factor was right, that I didn't even get my seeds in. So I didn't get anything harvested, and everybody else is harvesting their vegetables, and I'm over here in analysis paralysis. And so timing is extremely important to God. And that's another reason why He wanted us to learn seed, time, and harvest. And He wanted us to learn specifically that we plant during certain seasons, and then you weed out during those seasons, and you're always tending to the garden. You should be always wanting to work on whether it be the soil or getting the weeds out of the way, or doing organic fertilizer, or making sure they've got plenty of water. And so we should always be tending to that garden. And that window, I found, was extremely crucial. And so that's where I began to learn the importance of Kairos time, and that Kairos time was far more important to God than chronological time. And Kairos time follows the seasons, okay? And it follows the months, and it is based on and originating in the Hebrew calendar. And that's exactly why I started following the Hebrew calendar, was when I understood the importance of the time and the time window. And I didn't want to be the farmer that never got anything because I was too afraid to put my seeds in the ground. And so, that was something I really had to give up. And when I started my business, I wasn't ready to start my business. And, I probably could have waited 5 years. But God gave me a window. He said, there's a window of time, and I want you to do it in this window. And when God says do something in a window, you do it, because you'll find out you won't have a harvest. So this, these videos, and this teaching is my first fruits seed to my Father, the Creator of heaven and earth. Today is the beginning of the new year of the Hebrew calendar, not the new year, but the new calendar year, okay? The new year begins in the fall, but the first month of the calendar is Nisan, and today is the first day. And so we give a first fruits offering, okay? So, it would, be like I went and I just got my harvest, and I'm so excited, and what do I want to do with it? Do I want to give my best friend some of it, or give my family some of it, or do I want to eat the best part? Probably. But we want to give out of that first fruits harvest. And so there is a window of time with each season, and there's a window of time within each month for us to work on the soil, our body, our mind, our will, our emotions, and our spirit. And that's what I want this to be about. That's how we're going to get to the secret place. You can't do it all at once. It's too overwhelming. We're not meant to do it all at once. Our bodies weren't meant to be, really, really sick and then really, really well. I tell my clients, if we're a pendulum, we have to ebb and flow. Okay, so we can't just rock from one side to the other. So this is timely thing that we're going to walk through, and we're going to do it per season, per month, and sometimes even the days of the month will be very important, and I will try to talk about that and bring that up, because that's where my life changed forever, okay, was really getting in sync with Kairos time, divine time, walking out my footsteps with the Father according to how He designed us to walk out the footsteps. And in that, I watched everything in my life change, and I watched my seeds produce a harvest. I mean, gardening's not easy. It might be for some people. Some people have a green thumb. Some people, I truly believe that, the First Nations people are gifted. Whatever they put in the ground, their reward is a harvest. So, but it is not easy for me. And nor have just putting in those seeds, the fruits of the Spirit, and producing the harvest that I wanted to see. That hasn't been easy either, and it requires the work, and so we're gonna walk through that individually through time. And I wanted to acknowledge that today, being the first day of Nisan, it is also a first fruits offering day. And so we'll get way into first fruits as I go on, because it's extremely, extremely important for getting into the secret place. But first fruits can be, it's a gift for us to honor our Creator. Okay, I give Him the first fruits of what it is that maybe we want to see prosper, okay, what we want to see grow, okay? So we're going to talk about, like, for instance, if you want to see more joy in your life, okay, your first fruits offering to begin with could be to sow more joy into someone's life. I mean, maybe, you go to work and you're irritable, or, you wake your kids up in the morning and you're kind of grumpy, or you send them out the door in a bad mood. And in order to cultivate that joy, we have to give that joy. And so that's going to be another thing that we're going to get into talking about as we go through this, is the power of first fruits. And we're going to get into everything. We're going to get into the emotions and how they affect the body, and the how they release cytokines and chemical signals into the body. And we're going to get into trauma and how it affects our body. We're going to get into things like unforgiveness and resentment. And we're also going to get into generational things that affect our body as well. But in this space where I'm talking about time, it is important to understand that there is a divine time for everything. And so there is a divine time right now for us to begin planting the seeds that we want to see come up in the summer. Okay, they can come up sooner than that. Some of them may not come up that soon, but we're going to talk about the importance of planting those during this time and cultivating during this time, and how each day is important. The calendar month is important. We'll talk about Nisan. We'll talk about God's timetable. And there's so much to talk about. So I'm having to do a series of these because the amount of information is overwhelming. But I hope I can bring it to you in a way that it will make sense, and that we can begin to understand where the secret place is, what it is, what it's like to be in it, and how to get there, and what it takes to get there. And the goal is that we will walk through it together on a journey to the secret place.